Hello, this is Yujin. I'm a 33-year-old management consultant based in Boston. 2024 taught me one big lesson. Be careful what you wish for. Landing my dream project was both the blessing and the curse. Today, I'm sharing 24 lessons from 2024, things I've learned about habits, relationships, work, and time. I hope these reflections inspire you as we step into the new year. To keep you warm and cozy, here's my vacation footage from Bangkok, Thailand. Before I dive into relationships and work, let's start with habits, because these are the building blocks of everything else. You don't need many things. In August, I made the decision to live in a hotel for a full month. During this time, I had one large suitcase with me, and that was it. What surprised me though was I really didn't need that much stuff for the full month. No one really remembers, or rather cares, what I wear to work. And I get my books from the library, and the things that bring me joy were often free. And one of my favorite quotes from my therapist was, "You have a long journey ahead, travel light." So with the new year, I am going to declutter and focus on working with things that I already own and have. Next, actions solve anxiety. Remember the story I shared earlier about my burnout? At one point, I was so stressed about losing my job that I skipped my period. My body wasn't functioning well, and I noticed my mental health was taking a toll. One thing I learned from my 10 years of therapy, now 11 actually, was the power of taking action. Inaction breeds anxiety. Instead of waiting for something to happen in my life, I decided to do something about it. I left my apartment, I went into the office, and I started to schedule and pack my calendar with plenty of networking meetups and catch up with friends. I stopped getting anxious when the day was coming to an end, and I knew that I was making small progress towards getting to where I want to be. And remember, if you don't give up, you won't fail. Stop obsessing over your weight. You might regret it. One of my toxic traits was traveling with my own in-body scale. And let me tell you, TSA agents have seen some weird things at the airport, but my 5-pound body scale might be one of the top of the list. People looked at me as if I were crazy. I got so caught up in numbers that I developed unhealthy habits of skipping meals, running on the treadmill in really late and odd times of the day, and scratching my head. Then over the summer, I was walking early morning with a friend in her 40s. And she said, "Yujin, as women, we will constantly battle with weight. Your weight is meant to fluctuate, so stop worrying." Her words really hit me. When I stopped weighing myself every day in the fall, I somehow felt better and stronger. Just thinking about weight sometimes just raises your cortisol level and increases weight. Yes, I gained a few pounds, but I know now what I can do to manage it. We can't continue to tie our self-worth to numbers. Next, show up consistently. This is simple. Your habits shape who you are. I started showing up at the same place at the same time and made more friends this way. It can be as simple as a Saturday 8:30 a.m. Barry's class on floor 22. Show up, be on time, be reliable, and claim that small piece of space for yourself. You are building a system to make your habits easier for you. And remember to document everything. One of my favorite compliments I hear from my friends and coworkers is this: "Yujin, you have a great memory. How did you remember that?" My simple trick was to write everything down that I want to remember. I have a separate notes folder for work, feedback, people-related stuff. And on the last folder about people, this would include something about their birthdays, family, and even hobbies. I also have a separate video on note-taking if you're interested. This is definitely a habit I will carry on into the new year because it's such an easy way to show that you have your life together, at least to some degree. Plus, it's made creating content like this so much easier. Good habits set the foundation, but relationships are what make life truly meaningful. Let's begin by reaching out. Who's someone you've been meaning to reach out to? Reignite the old friendships and special acquaintances in your life. Remind them what they mean to you, just by saying, "Happy New Year." At the end of the day, it's the people and the connections you build over time that will make your life. That's why I do my best to respond to your comments. I know it's a work in progress, so it will continue into the new year too. And remember to call. When you do reach out, use your phone. Pick it up and call someone. Often, messages get lost in text. And when you do call, smile as you talk. It actually does wonders for how you come across on the phone. and look out for yourself. One of the hardest parts of being an adult is really looking after yourself and being responsible for all your choices. Earlier this year, I had to navigate the business world and felt like I was really on my own. Your family won't be by your side forever. So start strengthening your ties with friends, your tribe, and your allies. Your future self will thank you later. Find help. We are not meant to do everything on our own. And I can't thank enough everyone who helped me get to where I am today. And special shout out to my editor, Himanshu, who's been helping me create and push out content on this channel even during my busiest months of my career. One of my best lessons from my mom was to not be afraid to ask for help and always remember to say thank you. It's free. Let go of KPIs. Key performance indicators. I sometimes feel like only the things that are measured are rewarded, but some of the most meaningful things in life can't be measured with numbers. The warmth of a friend's support during tough times, the satisfaction of mentoring someone who goes on to do great things, or the peace that comes from knowing you did the right thing. And none of these show up in performance metrics, yet these are the moments that make life rich and meaningful. Remember that not everything that counts can be counted. And keep secrets. Words travel fast, especially the bad ones, and people remember what you say. So you have two biggest assets that you carry with you at all times: your time and your reputation. Don't hurt what you built over the years by treating someone else's story like a gossip. And learn to listen without fixing. One of the biggest lessons I learned this year is that sometimes people don't need solutions. They just need to feel heard. As someone whose job is to solve problems, I used to jump in with advice or action steps when friends shared their challenges. But I realized that what they often needed was a safe space to vent, process, and feel validated. Sometimes the best thing you can say is, "That sounds really hard, and I'm here for you." Call your mom. Life is short. Make time for those you care about. Really get to know your mother or someone important in your life. Ask about their love stories, the choices they made, anything they want to do in the future together. And make sure you spend time for you. Write a letter to your future self. I have to admit, sometimes life really sucks. I've been writing letters to myself using future.me so that I can remind myself of the small wins and remember the worries I had a few months ago. When I reread these letters from the past, it reminds me that what I used to worry so much about becomes irrelevant quite quickly, and I learn to move past it. Plus, it's kind of like time traveling in the best way possible. Now onto the professional you. As I reflected on my personal relationships, I noticed how these lessons carried over into my professional life. Here's what 2024 taught me about work. Be careful what you wish for. Landing my dream project was everything I'd hoped for, and everything I wasn't prepared for. Remember when I posted that burnout video? Well, there's a story behind that. Earlier this year, I was stuck on the beach, and that's consultant speak for having no projects. As someone on an H-1B visa, this wasn't just stressful, it was terrifying. 2024 wasn't an easy year for consultants. There were layoffs, news about AI replacing jobs, and companies having the smallest partner election class in decades. I was networking extensively, but everything seemed to be moving slowly. About a month in with no work in sight, I started to get worried. Was I irrelevant? Would I be let go? And could I land a job in less than 60 days? Because of my work visa, I would have limited time to find a new job. I went down a spiral of very unhealthy thoughts, and you may have seen that energy in my videos earlier this year. But then something clicked within 2 months of trying. I landed that project I really wanted. But oh boy, when that dream project finally came, it hit like a tsunami. I've been a consultant for the past 7 years, and this was by far the most intensive project I've been on in terms of emotional and pure physical demands. I'm not complaining. I am so grateful for everyone I met through the project. But I definitely felt like I was working a two-person job. This was around the time when I posted my burnout video. So, be careful what you wish for, because you might really get it. Show up to meetings early. There were 3 times this year that helped me get an incredible opportunity, and all those times had one thing in common: get there early. And I used this to my advantage. I wasn't rushed. Instead, I was present, poised, and prepared. Small talk led to new connections, meaningful relationships, and even a job offer. I learned that sometimes the best opportunities come to you when you make yourself more available. But this isn't to say that you should work overtime, which goes to my next point. don't overwork. There is always a way to work smart. If I'm sending late night emails every night for several weeks in a row and not getting sleep, something needs to change. The irony of always working is that people will take you for granted. Also, I've learned that working super late signals to people that I'm not working efficiently if I'm working at all waking hours. Don't give people the impression that you're always available. Remember to put your health first, because the truth is, no one else will. Ask great questions. In my years of interviewing candidates, both consulting jobs and for the Wharton School, I learned that this one single quality makes a candidate stand out: curiosity. Earlier this year, someone told me that he brought me onto a project because of this. In my consulting company, you constantly get interviewed before you are onboarded and get asked to give names of former colleagues you've worked with as part of the due diligence process. This person said he chose me among more than 20 other consultants because I asked great follow-up questions that signaled I knew what I was doing. Asking thoughtful questions is the best way to get yourself recognized among a sea of applicants. Have you thought about the context, really dove into what the school or the job entails, and demonstrate that you know and what you don't know? The easiest way to show all of these is by asking the right questions, so use this to your advantage. The one tap rule. Do one thing and one thing at a time. I sometimes feel like I'm being pulled in all sorts of different directions. Part of what led to my burnout was constant digital overwhelm. So I made this rule: one tab, open at a time. Sounds simple, right? But it completely changed how I work. My brain stopped feeling like a browser with 47 tabs open. Make focus your superpower. Finally, I want to talk about time, the one thing we all wish we had more of. Here are my biggest lessons on managing and valuing time in 2024. Time resolves a lot of things. I know the unknown and uncertainty are scary. What I learned in 2024 is to not act out of anxiety or desperation. Take a step back, go for a walk, call a friend, or in the worst case, talk to ChatGPT for a quick cognitive behavioral therapy session to rewire your mind. Time will give clarity. Invest in morning energy. This was a game changer. Your morning energy is like startup capital. Invest it wisely. I used to check emails first thing in the morning, but now those first 90 minutes are sacred. They're for whatever fills my cup. Sometimes it's a workout, sometimes it's reading, sometimes it's recording voiceover like this, or at times it's just sitting with my cup of tea and watching the sunrise. I feel like because the rest of my day tends to get really hectic with back-to-back meetings, having a slow morning was a great way to ground myself. Empty calendars. You know those moments when you're rushing from one meeting to another, barely breathing? I used to wear busy like a badge of honor. I'm busy. I'm so busy doing this and that. But this year, I learned that magic really happens in empty spaces. I started blocking off 2 hours every week just for thinking. No meetings, no phone, no agenda. Just me sitting with my thoughts. And usually a really good matcha latte. The ideas that came from these empty moments ended up being some of my most valuable contributions. The 2 a.m. rule. Here's something I started doing this year. If it's keeping me up at 2 a.m., it needs to be addressed by 2 p.m. the next day. Whether it's a difficult conversation or a decision I've been avoiding, letting things simmer only makes them bigger in our minds. Just get it done and over with. One time, I spent 3 nights stressing about giving feedback to a junior team member. When I finally had the conversation, it took 15 minutes and we both grew from it. A lot can change in a week. In June, I was balancing so many things from my health to travel plans and work. But within a single week, I made a series of decisions that lined up nicely like dominoes. One phone call led to another, and I was able to end the week really strong. It reminded me that even when life feels stuck, momentum is just one decision away. 2024 taught me that growth isn't just about doing more. It's about doing what matters. As we move into 2025, I hope these lessons inspire you to live with intention and purpose. So make every single day and every single hour count, starting now. And remember to come back to my next video topic on
Let's go! It's time to be the GOAT. It's time to enter God mode, man, let's get it going. I wanna be the greatest, energy is overflowing. I know I'm stoking the fire, my desire's taking over.